There's a story about Suella Braverman going the rounds, and it would be silly not to mention it. It's a story that comes from an MP called William Ragg, who's not standing at the next election. And he says that my clearest recollection of our Home Secretary's legal acumen came from day one as an MP. We had a presentation, and during the presentation, apparently, she asked whether or not one could claim a speeding ticket as expenses, as parliamentary duties expenses. Rather embarrassed, the representatives said this wasn't the case. But what the story suggests is that Suella Braverman was rather hopeless legally and didn't really know what was going on. I don't think that has really changed. William Ragg says, for context, I've become increasingly concerned and depressed by the toxicity of the debate around immigration and asylum, which I'm sorry to say has been worsened by the Home Secretary. Previous tweets, he adds, were a symptom of my patience snapping, although true, being cheeky and offhand doesn't aid good public discourse, which is something we should all strive to maintain. I hope everyone has a nice weekend, something we tend to have more in common. Remembering we tend to have more in common. So, yes, absolutely. And I think, maybe he regrets having chalked up that particular story. But we've got to remember, Suella Braverman was Attorney General. She was the most senior government law officer, and yet this is somebody who had said, can I claim speeding tickets as part of my parliamentary expenses? It's not the first time that speeding tickets have come up in Parliament. There was a Liberal MP and his wife, Vicky Price, who were jailed. So Miss Price had claimed that she was the one speeding when, and so she would take the points against her license for her husband, who was actually the one who was doing the speeding. I think that took place in 2003. It was exposed in 2013. Dodgy habits. But Suella Braverman clearly had not been paying attention to all that. She clearly didn't know what was going on. And the question, the implication is, does she know any better now? I think probably not. She's the person who seems to think that it's perfectly possible to ignore those rules we don't like.